Story 1. Celebrate your partner at every opportunity. If they reciprocate, you know you married well, and everything else becomes much easier. Knowing you are loved as much as you love them makes even the biggest disagreements surmountable. Story 2. Truly understand and believe that in most relationships, each person tends to overestimate the percentage of the effort they contribute. Consider what this means for your perception of yourself, your perception of others, the effort you invest, and the effort you expect from them. Communicate this understanding to others and remind yourself repeatedly. Story 3. Pick your battles. Take a moment to step back instead of engaging in pointless conflicts or placing blame. You may be hungry, tired, or simply need some time to yourself. Story 4. If one of you requests a 5-minute break during an argument to cool off or process your thoughts, you are entitled to that break, and the other person cannot refuse. It's just 5 minutes. No one is going to die. Learn to be patient. Remember that game in preschool where you could only talk if you had the ball? Sometimes we need to revisit simple practices like that so only one person speaks at a time, which can also make it more enjoyable. Start sentences with I feel, I think, or similar phrases instead of you always, you thought, or you don't. Consider using separate blankets. Designate specific days or times for intimacy to ensure you're both satisfied, even with chaotic schedules. There's always time somewhere. Schedule it. Volunteer together. Make it a habit to kiss each other when you get home for the day and also in the morning, regardless of any disagreements or emotions. Have different hobbies or engage in activities without each other to allow for personal time. Set clear boundaries with your parents and relatives. Identify your love language. When resolving conflicts, understand that most issues can and should be approached as a team rather than as opponents. Focus on you and me versus the problem instead of me versus you. Story 5. Show mutual consideration. Think of your partner as well when you make decisions as it impacts them too. Small treats for your significant other when you go to the store often bring a smile. Story 6. Don't stop having difficult conversations. Marry someone who enjoys similar climate settings in the car. Marry a person who can admit they are wrong without being defensive or self-pitying. Story 7. Whenever we have a complaint or argument, we go to human resources, who we refer to as our cat. We try to look for her, but like human resources, she is often not available to help. As a result, we find ourselves complaining about human resources together and figuring out how to deal with the situation. Occasionally, our cat does show up and meows, and we attempt to interpret the meows. Story 8. While it's impossible to split chores evenly, especially when kids are involved, take the initiative to do the tasks she dislikes without being asked. Instead of asking if there is anything to do, identify the chores that need attention and complete them. Arguments can be healthy up to a point. However, it's often better to let some issues go as they may not be worth the conflict. Marriage can be as easy or as challenging as you choose to make it. The choice is always yours, but remember that it is a team effort. Story 9. Obligatory. I am not married, but we have been together as long as the average marriage, and this has helped immensely. I have a poor memory due to traumatic brain injuries and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, but I love my girlfriend and I try my hardest to make her happy. Not long after we decided to commit to a relationship, I started writing everything important about her in a notebook. I have an ever-evolving list of her favorite things and places. I have the names of her family and friends, as well as their birthdays. I have a section marked out just for special days. I have another section that details all the days I know she will be sad, grieving, or in her head. I write all this on the right side of the book, and on the left, I jot down notes detailing moments when she has made me feel happy and loved. I read through it often so I can plan things for her and us. Whenever I feel sad, I read through the notes on the left side pages. Story 10. Mostly targeted at men, but some women as well. Don't always try to find a solution. Learn to either understand or, if you don't, just ask your partner if they need advice or understanding. Story 11. Anytime the thought crosses my mind that I should hug her, I do it. Anytime I think about my love for her, I tell her, even if we're miles apart. These things may seem obvious, but I tend to be a reserved and unemotional person on the outside, and it has taken me many years and several relationships to improve that part of myself. Story 12. You can always express anger later. There is no need to address it in the moment. Most of the time, you realize you were in the wrong or actually angry about something else. Holding your tongue for a moment, a few minutes, an hour, or a day, can save your relationship from unnecessary arguments about things that do not truly matter. Story 13. 1. Communicate about what you like and want, and what your partner likes and wants. This includes everything: bills, housework, family, religion, retirement plans, intimacy, and finances. If you get married and leave these topics unsaid, you will encounter challenges later. Don't do it. Let the little things go. They aren't important. The only time they become significant is if you have discussed them and both understand their importance. Always be willing to try something new or revisit something from the past that mattered to your partner. Routine can stifle passion, so change things up whenever possible. Be passionate, just not all the time. Passion is a form of caring, silly as it may sound. Get excited about positive experiences, but it's okay to acknowledge negative moments occasionally. Surprise your partner with kindness. I travel frequently for work and send spontaneous messages to my wife during the day, which she appreciates. I also ask her to wear outfits I like, especially when I'm away. I have been married for 25 years. She is my second wife. My first marriage was very brief. I have learned a lot through these experiences. Story 14. If you find yourself being snippy with your partner, ask yourself if you would speak to a complete stranger in the supermarket the same way. If you would treat that stranger with more respect and consideration than your partner, take a moment to breathe and calm yourself before you respond. Your partner's willingness to tolerate more than a stranger does not justify treating them poorly. Story 15. So much great advice is already here. I'll provide what I'm learning now after 25 years. If your partner is in a bad mood, nothing specific, just a bad day, don't let it impact yours. I've recently learned I can turn their bad day around just by maintaining a good mood. Believe it or not, you're their encourager even if you think they're upset with you. Story 16. Chores tend to get grouped together, which is where much of the stress seems to originate. It's not that she is upset about you leaving your clothes on the bathroom floor. It's that she now has to gather the laundry and also thinks about cleaning the bathroom before she can get to that. The trick is to break up the chores into smaller tasks. You should already be doing half of them, so it's not about the number of chores. But seriously, do your fair share. Nobody is your servant. Put your clothes in the washer. If it's full, pour some detergent in and start it. You just completed 30 seconds of work, and now she doesn't have to one. Gather laundry, too. Think about cleaning the bathroom and possibly 3. Start the laundry. Did you hear the washer stop? Take another minute to toss the clothes in the dryer. Now all that's left is folding and putting them away. You've eliminated a significant portion of the chore and spent only about 2 minutes on it. Apply this approach everywhere. Rinse your dishes and place them in the dishwasher. Dishes done, put them away. Individually, none of these tasks usually take more than a couple of minutes, but each contributes significantly towards reducing the overall workload. If he's mowing the lawn, grab the weed whacker to do the edging. One of you is cleaning the pool, the other can handle the chemicals. Almost all chores have multiple steps. Break them down and contribute. Now you're each doing your part, and it doesn't overwhelm the person who normally does it all. Pack lunches while they prepare breakfast. You get the groceries and they put them away. Having an hour of chores can be daunting. Realizing they consist of 2-minute tasks lumped together and breaking them down is less overwhelming. Having someone help with just a few tasks is even better. Now nobody feels overwhelmed. It's that simple. Story 17. Love shouldn't hurt. If your spouse is hurting you physically or is abusive in any way, begin making a plan to safely leave. Story 18. Do not get married if you are not ready. Not because you are getting older, not because your parents want you to, and not because it was your grandmother's dying wish. Marriage is not just about being there during the good times, but also about picking up the pieces when life breaks you down like a bowl of china. If you are not ready for the responsibility, just say no. Story 19. The moment you start comparing what each other does, you've lost the essence of the relationship. If you don't feel recognized, communicate your feelings. If you believe you're performing well, ask for feedback. Notice the little things your partner enjoys. Even small gestures matter. Do they appreciate an afternoon cup of tea or get excited about being wrapped in a warm blanket from the dryer? What chores do they dislike that you don't mind doing? Take care of those. For instance, I enjoy cooking and don't mind washing the dishes, but I dislike putting them away. My partner handles that. I find laundry tedious, especially folding, but I love ironing. I could vacuum, mop, or steam clean endlessly, but I dislike picking up toys. My partner is afraid of heights, so I take care of the high-up tasks, provided he holds the ladder. You are on the same team. It's important to have personal days, which should be encouraged by both partners and included in the schedule. Everyone should be aware of their child's basic information, birth dates, medications, preferences, friends, and so on. You are responsible for giving gifts to those you feel obligated to gift. If someone makes a mistake, which is inevitable, like forgetting to pick up an item from the store or missing a date on the calendar, being angry won't help. This is the time to demonstrate partnership and collaboration. You should be both willing to give support and expect to receive it in return. You should feel valued in your relationship. It's important to feel that you are contributing and receiving in return. Time affects us all. Everyone will age or experience changes. They may chip a tooth that needs replacing or obtain a noticeable scar from surgery. Appreciate your partner's beautiful body and be thankful for their presence. Likewise, appreciate your own body and be grateful for its support. Hair grows in unexpected places. Everyone passes gas. Sometimes you just want to go home, relax, and change into comfortable clothes. The sooner everyone embraces this reality, the better. Story 20. Learn to apologize even when you are right, especially when you are right. Bonus points if you do it while handing them snacks. Story 21. If your partner is talking to you, put down your phone, turn off the TV, stop typing, and face them. While they are speaking, do not try to think of a response. Listen. Then again, I do not have a great track record, so other suggestions may be more successful. Story 22. There is no winning in a fight with your spouse. We are truly a unit, and if one of us is upset, the other feels it too. When we approach arguments and conflicts this way, it is much easier to see reason and compromise. Story 23. Thank your spouse for everything. This is a two-way street. Adulthood comes with a lot of thankless work, and hearing appreciation from your partner can go a long way in preventing resentment or feelings of being taken for granted. Did they clean the kitchen? Thank you. Did they walk the dogs? Thank you. Did they make dinner? Thank you. Did they bring you a glass of water? Thank you. Did they do the grocery shopping? Thank you. One of the biggest benefits of a relationship is having someone to share the load with. It takes a lot to keep a home and life running smoothly, and saying thank you costs nothing. Sometimes it's not about the task. It's about letting your partner know you see and value their effort. This might not work for every couple, but for me, it's about giving my spouse the same appreciation I would offer anyone else who did something that helped me. Why should they get any less? Story 24. Years ago, my wife and I were on our honeymoon at a resort in Cancun. One day, we crossed paths with a group of middle-aged Texans enjoying themselves in the pool. They were incredibly nice and outgoing. At some point, we mentioned to one of the wives that we were there for our honeymoon and followed up with the cliché question, "What's your best tip for a long-lasting marriage?" The woman looked directly at me, pointed her finger at my chest, and with all the seriousness in the world said, "You never stop showing her affection. I have to say, so far it has worked out." Story 25. Your partner cannot attend to all your needs, and vice versa. You need quality friends, mentors, colleagues, and therapists to have a healthy marriage. Story 26. If my wife comes up with an idea I don't like, I don't immediately oppose it. I just wait. Chances are she will completely change her mind or simply forget about it. Story 27. Above everything and everyone else, even above your kids, your partner is the most important person in the world. Story 28. Realize that you are being selfish about something, just like every person on the planet, but also understand that accepting this knowledge means you can work on it. I knew I wasn't perfect, but I also didn't realize how much of a brat I was being until about 10 years into the marriage, and I thought, well, that was a wake-up call. Additionally, accept that some of the things you are hung up about are not as important as you believe they are, because we all have some pointless fixations that stress us out for no real reason. However, some of the things your partner is concerned about are more important than you might realize, because you may not see it from their perspective. I had to learn that lesson the hard way as well. Story 29. There might be things you don't like about your spouse, but keep in mind that you probably have many small flaws as well. If he is willing to tolerate mine, I will tolerate his. Marriage is all about teamwork. Story 30. Do the tasks they prefer to avoid before they need to be completed. Small things like cleaning the litter box, doing a load of laundry, and picking up groceries they mention we might need. Tell her you love her and put your phone down when she is around. Story 31. When asked for your opinion on something you really don't care about, such as a preference between cream, off-white, ivory, or beige throw cushions, provide an answer immediately. If asked to explain your decision, give a non-committal and vague response, like, I just like it. It's better to be seen as wrong than as indifferent. Story 32. 20 years, it's your marriage. In other words, it's the two of you against everyone else. Parents, kids, friends, co-workers, everybody. Don't listen to people who tell you something about your marriage is odd or weird. If both parties in the marriage are happy, then that's all that matters at the end of the day. Your spouse is your teammate, your co-captain, your best friend, your ride or die. That said, this works if you're both kind and caring people without any addiction issues. Also, that butterfly romantic feeling fades. Some days you have to choose to love your spouse even when they do that thing that bothers you. I think the best phrase I ever heard was from Billy Graham's wife. A reporter asked her if she ever thought of divorcing him. She replied, "Divorce? Never. Murder? Occasionally. But you never would 'cause you'd miss them too much." Story 33. Respond to their bids for connection. It only takes a few words of validation, and they will feel much more connected to you. It's one of the easiest things you can do, yet many people manage to mess it up by ignoring or dismissing them. Story 34. You are in a group together now. A significant other's coworker has a disagreement with them. Strategize together. Are the children being difficult? Tackle it together. You are each other's support. Story 35. Ultimately, for a long-term relationship to work, both people have to want it. If their behavior is inconsistent with someone who truly wants to be with you, they are not the right person. Story 36. Gratitude. Thank your partner for doing things, even if it is just putting the dishes away. Recognizing the little things they do daily goes a long way and helps you continue to see all the contributions they make to support you. Story 37. Marry someone with deep reserves of mental toughness. Life is hard, but it gets easier if your closest ally is a source of strength rather than a drain of energy. Bruce Springsteen and Harris had it right. Find someone tougher than the rest. Story 38. Both of us versus the problem. It is never you versus me. Always put them first, just as they should put you first. Be their best friend. A best friend, not just a good friend. A best friend. Nobody else comes first. Nobody is more important. Story 39. Your husband is your best friend. He is not your girlfriend, so think before you speak. Keep marital matters private. Story 40. Unless proven otherwise, always assume your partner has good intentions. If they do something that hurts you, it is more likely that they just made a mistake. Do not attribute malice to it. Your partner probably already feels bad about it, and accusing them of doing it on purpose only makes everything worse. Story 41. We used to have the world's only talking dog, who could mediate differences or make comments to each of us that the other was not comfortable saying. Unfortunately, he recently passed away at 16 years of age. Fortunately, we now have the world's only talking ghost dog. Our marriage will survive. Story 42. Daily acts of kindness and intimacy. We hug, kiss, and express gratitude daily, even though it means I have thanked him for making coffee for the last 3,800 days in a row. Story 43. Don't try to solve it. Many times your partner just wants you to listen. They don't need a rescue or a solution. Just listen. Story 44. Laugh it off. Remember that you love each other. Be best friends. Try new things together. Take care of yourself. Go to individual therapy even if life is perfect. Say thank you for the small things too. Notice efforts. Story 45. If your partner has children from another relationship, do not speak negatively about the other parent. Children hear more than you think and pick up on subtle cues you might not expect. If one parent has to serve as the point of contention in conflicts, it will harm your marriage more than you realize. Story 46. We have a quarterly meeting to address our relationship. We go out for dinner and drinks to talk openly and honestly about our needs and wants, with nothing off limits. There is no arguing, judging, or blaming. We have both committed to fulfilling each other's needs. We function as a team. It is never a matter of you versus me. We have been together and conducting these date meetings for over 20 years. In the beginning, we resolved nearly every issue in our relationship. Later, these meetings evolved into exploring sexual fantasies. Currently, we usually spend our time discussing bucket list items, vacations we want to take, and intimacy. This approach keeps us aligned on every level. It fosters fun, exploration, and sharing, prevents us from becoming complacent or boring. We haven't had an argument in over a decade. Story 47. If it is at all possible, separate bathrooms can prevent arguments about leaving the seat up, hair in the sink, a grungy counter from washing greasy hands, and hair in the drains. All bathroom conflicts can disappear. My bathroom is in the finished basement, so there is the added benefit of cardio from the stairs. My grandfather gave me this advice when I was a child, and he was absolutely right. Story 48. Once you both are a couple, you are no longer just individuals. You are part of a team. No argument is ever about one versus the other. It's both of you versus the problem. Story 49. People change over time. Tastes, preferences, likes, and dislikes evolve, and that is okay. You married the person or the idea of the person. It is your responsibility to understand which one it is. When circumstances change, you must adapt to survive. You will change in the future, and your partner will change as well. Stagnation can lead to the end of the marriage. Work together to navigate these changes. Most importantly, because it is common in discussions. 1. When you knock on the door of difficult conversations, do not be surprised when a response comes. Opening up the marriage can jeopardize it. You are not prepared for the consequences, no matter how you feel. You may not be ready for your partner to discover that others can treat them better than you can. You might struggle with how to handle that realization. Story 50. Create home movies. Making these films makes my wife feel attractive and valued. It provides me with countless hours of content, allowing me to appreciate her even more, which in turn increases my desire for her and makes her feel more desirable. An added benefit is that I can watch adult content all day, and my wife not only doesn't mind, she actually appreciates it. Story 51. Do not go to bed angry. Resolve the argument first if you can. Touch each other frequently, especially when there is no expectation of anything in return. Hold hands while walking, place their feet on your lap while resting, and sit close enough to make contact. Engage with each other, even if it's just making small talk with the driver or cashier that day. The fun part is being a team and being able to say, I'm having a tough day and don't feel like handling everything this morning. Can you help out? And, of course, do not keep score. Do not say you cannot live without them. Be honest. It would be difficult, but you would manage. You should be an adult who wakes up each morning and chooses to share your life with another adult. Dependency can be harmful to a marriage. Story 52. Having pictures of both of you as children displayed somewhere, can be a good reminder during arguments that you both need attention and care. Story 53. To keep your marriage filled with love, whenever you are wrong, admit it. Whenever you are right, remain silent. Ogden Nash. This is absolutely true. It worked in my 31-year marriage. Oddly, it is hardest to remain silent when you are right. Story 54. To ask myself if this hill is worth dying on during an argument. Sometimes it is just better to let little things go. Story 55. Keep intimacy alive during dry spells. During times of stress or illness, it is normal for libidos to fluctuate. Continue to snuggle and kiss. Maintain intimacy even when desire is low. Story 56. Don't let your happiness depend on your spouse or what they are or are not doing for you. They are not there to serve you but to work with you as a partner to accomplish great things. You are responsible for your own attitude and emotional well-being. Story 57. Marriage is not about equal halves. Both partners need to be willing to invest over 100% without hesitation. A simple thank you can make a significant difference. True apologies are unconditional. Saying, "I'm sorry if," is not a genuine apology. Story 58. No relationship is 50-50. They are 60-40, with both sides trying to be the 60. When you can't be the 60, tell your partner how much you have. Saying, "Work kicked my rear, all I have is 30 tonight," is easier than getting upset with each other or reacting with statements and actions you don't mean. Story 59. Never say the first thing that comes to your mind. Say the third thing. She spent $300 on clothes. How is that sweater $100? You'll wear it once and never again. Wow, it looks great on you. Story 60. Get married later after being single for more than 10 years of adult life, and you will have a much easier time appreciating your partner. Story 61. Never ask your wife where she wants to eat. Instead, tell her to guess where you are taking her. Her response, whether positive or negative, will indicate her preference. Story 62. Do the task your spouse dislikes. If they hate folding laundry but it doesn't bother you, just do it. Story 63. Someone who realizes you are on the same team understands that the focus should be on how to solve the problem together. I now view our finances as a reflection of how much money is coming in, rather than comparing individual contributions, since there have been many instances where one of us earned significantly more than the other. Story 64. Have a spine and call your spouse out on their bad behaviors. You are there to help one another become the best version of yourselves. Marriage does not grant an automatic escape from criticism. Hold each other accountable. Story 65. My marriage improved when we started using the phrase, "I love you, go away." Sometimes we just need some time alone, and it's not because we are angry or falling out of love. We both respect this phrase as a request for some time to recharge our social batteries. Story 66. Do not rely on pet names and nicknames for each other, no matter how loving they may be. Use your partner's real name as much as possible. When you only use pet names, they are typically used when you are happy with your partner, while their real name is used when you are angry. This conditions your brain. No one deserves to fear the sound of their own name. Hearing your partner say your name should make you feel warm and happy inside. Story 67. Here are a few things that have helped me, though I acknowledge there are exceptions to what I'm about to say. Consider marriage counseling if possible. I assure you both may not communicate as well as you think, and having a third party can be beneficial. Always support your partner when interacting with others. Even if you disagree with them, address it later but show your support. Similar to the previous point, avoid arguments framed as you versus your spouse. Make an effort to engage with each other's hobbies. Whether it's trying them, discussing them, or anything else, even if you aren't genuinely interested, try to engage for 5 minutes. Story 68. It is perfectly acceptable, even beneficial, to go to bed feeling angry. If it is close to or past your bedtime, you may feel irritable and unproductive. Get a good night's sleep. Enjoy a hearty breakfast. And in the morning, the disagreement you were having is likely to turn into a civilized discussion. Story 69. A happy wife leads to an easy life. Dignity is not worth much if it comes at the cost of a miserable existence. Story 70. We are retired now for 12 years, so your mileage may vary. There is no 50 to 50. It takes 100% from both partners. We are in total agreement on politics. Shared duties evolve into what each person does best in a good marriage. My wife does the trimming and I handle the mowing. My wife takes care of the floors while I keep the kitchen clean, and after doing the dishes, I store them as she prefers. If it doesn't matter to me, I never fuss and simply go along with her choices. She doesn't mind my sleep patterns or that I want to bake bread and enjoy my multiplayer games. I have multiple devices running on the tables next to my recliner. She controls the temperature in the house and car, as well as the television and radio. I cover all the monthly bills with my pensions, while she takes care of unexpected expenses, like replacing the car, a new central air conditioning unit and furnace, and the copay for replacing all 4 roofs on our property. Life is good. Story 71. Never keep score. It is not about who did what last or who owes what chore. You are a team, not opponents. Once we dropped the tit-for-tat mindset, everything became much smoother. Story 72. When she is upset about a problem, unless someone is on the floor bleeding, she is not asking me to solve the problem. She is looking for emotional support. Story 73. Being around each other constantly can lead to annoyance and reduce romance. A good life hack is to spend some time apart periodically to give each other space to breathe. Story 74. 13 years together, nearly 8 married. Choose your partner wisely, but that's a pre-marriage tip. First and most importantly, always remember we are playing for the same team. It's not you versus me. It's us versus the problem. We always try to approach challenges together as a united front. Assume you are the less favorable partner and strive to outdo the other. Both of us unknowingly had this mindset, and one day we realized we shared the same assumption, that we were the dud partner and always wanted to improve. It was amusing to discover. Now, we both maintain this approach, contributing 60% to our partner's 40% and compensating accordingly. Story 75. Unconditional love, empathy, assertiveness, clear communication, and perseverance are essential in a relationship. Focus on yourself as well and remember who you are. Do not give up on reinventing yourself in marriage, especially as you grow older. Good health and each other are what truly matter. Do not go to bed angry with one another. Be emotionally available and remain faithful. Story 76. Going to bed angry sometimes is actually okay. My husband and I learned that forcing a resolution when we are both exhausted just leads to saying things we regret. Story 77. Don't compare yourself to others, especially on the internet. You may see couples who portray themselves as perfect. They aren't. Story 78. If you punish your partner by sleeping apart after a conflict, it can disrupt the entire relationship. Story 79. Effective communication and teamwork are essential for addressing challenges. Additionally, if you make an effort to engage in intimacy more frequently, it often occurs more naturally. Story 80. I have learned many important lessons. 1. Respect each other's boundaries and space, and communicate your own. Share a kiss whenever possible. Do not go to bed angry. Assist each other with household tasks. There are many more lessons, and I am still learning. Story 81. When we had young children who didn't sleep well, my wife and I agreed that anything we said to each other between midnight and 6 a.m. was immediately forgotten. Never stop courting your spouse. Communicate clearly about chore allocation so that neither partner feels overwhelmed. Story 82. You can disagree without arguing. Listen to the other person's side and understand why they feel the way they do. At the end of it, it is still okay to disagree. Story 83. Go to bed angry. If you get into a fight and one or both of you are tired, be willing to mutually step away and accept that you will approach things with a clearer mind in the morning. Be open to stepping away from an argument at any time. I have discussed argument strategies with my significant others, and we have shortcuts to diffuse the tension and step away. A catchphrase that reminds us of past arguments and how ridiculous we felt afterward. We laugh through our frustration, and once we are calm or rested, we revisit the disagreement logically. Story 84. Marry someone who has the same taste in horror movies. Also, find someone who understands that it's us versus the world, not versus each other. Generally, do the opposite of my brother-in-law's advice, as he has been married 3 times for a combined total of 10 years. Story 85. Late to the party, but I heard someone once refer to small annoyances as the price of admission for being with your partner. It's a way of reframing the idea of choosing your battles. For example, my husband is a wonderful person who never thinks to turn his socks right side out when he takes them off. Laundry is usually something I take care of, so I always turn out his socks. Is it annoying? Yes. But if the price of admission for having a great partner who is loving, thoughtful, and kind is turning out some socks twice a week, in my opinion, that's a bargain. I consider this a way to step back and decide if something is a real problem or just a minor, temporary inconvenience. Overlooking balled-up socks is one thing, but this does not apply to actual disrespectful behavior. Story 86. I learned this by watching my parents. They don't have the concept of a good cop or a bad cop. If a child makes a mistake, you are both the bad cop. Story 87. If you don't want your favorite snacks eaten before you have a chance to get to them, hide them in the lowest spot possible. They won't bother to look for them there. Honestly, it has spared my partner and me a lot of fights. Story 88. It is not you versus your spouse in an argument. It is both of you versus the problem or issue at hand. Remind yourself of this during an argument, and it will usually help change the dynamics for both of you. Story 89. Sleep is crucial. There isn't much you can't solve if you're both rested. You're more likely to argue when tired. If you're restless, get up so you don't disturb your partner. If you have children, create a schedule to ensure you both get a solid block of sleep each night or at least have a regular sleep routine. Trade off days to sleep in. If you snore, grind your teeth, or move around in your sleep and disturb your partner, work on solutions for those issues. One person who consistently experiences sleep deprivation will quickly resent a partner who does not, especially if the causes can be addressed. Story 90. Listen, really listen. Listen to words, nuances, body language, and tone of voice. These matter more than anything else. Story 91. We heard before we got married to always try to be kinder than the other. Do little things that they normally have to handle. They will appreciate it and hopefully reciprocate, building a positive cycle. Instead of focusing on the dishes piling up or a cluttered space, do something nice. They will feel appreciated, the problem will be resolved, and you will feel like a better person. Story 92. This has worked for my husband and me through pure, unfiltered communication. It has allowed us to feel incredibly comfortable with each other. Story 93. Every year, on our anniversary, my wife and I take a road trip and talk about our marriage. We ask each other if we would like to change anything about our marriage, relationship, or friendship. After 13 years, we still wouldn't change a thing. Story 94. Saying thank you for the little things, like passing me the remote or sending me a text to let me know they took out the trash, creates moments of appreciation. It shows that I recognize their efforts and am not taking them for granted. Story 95. The best lesson I've learned is not to get married at all. Living without my freedom is something I cannot accept. Story 96. Do not share with your friends all the negative things your partner does. You may forgive your partner, but your friends might not. Story 97. Live each day as if you are still dating each other. I heard that years ago, and it still sticks with me. Story 98. I heard someone refer to their husband as handsome when I was newly married. They often talked about how wonderful he was. She was the only person I heard consistently speak positively about her spouse. Now I've been married almost 25 years and refer to mine as my handsome husband whenever he comes up in conversation. It reminds me each time that I'm still really into him. Sometimes he gets to hear it, and I like to think it makes him smile too. Story 99. Snuggle more. Non-sexual touching is important. Holding hands, snuggling, and leaning together on a couch or bench can greatly improve your relationship. Make it a significant part of your day. Almost no one is snuggling enough. Story 100. You know how they say not to go to sleep angry? Do it. Go to sleep angry. When you try to resolve conflicts at night with tempers running high, you end up saying things you wish you hadn't. Sleep gives both of you a break, and you can calmly discuss the issue in the morning if you're still angry then. Half the time, it will be water under the bridge by then. Story 101. The idea that you should never go to bed angry is not always true. Sometimes taking a break can do wonders. The next morning, you may not even remember what you were arguing about. It's also important to apologize and communicate. Story 102. It is always the two of you against whatever challenges arise. Money problems, job issues, depression, and difficult family members, including children, create a dynamic where you and your spouse are on one side, while the problems are on the other. Story 103. Buy your wife chocolate and flowers once a week. There doesn't have to be a reason, and it can be the smallest bouquet. Story 104. I ask myself what a healthy person would do in this situation, as opposed to reacting based on my emotions. It is also important to learn about your attachment style. Story 105. Together for 11 years, married for 3, and the secret is to not tell anyone anything about your relationship. Don't share details about your arguments. Once you start involving other people, it changes everything. Speaking from experience, what we go through together. Also, choose your battles wisely. It's us versus the problem, not you versus me. Story 106. Do not share everything immediately. Allow your partner to sometimes bring something new to the collective. Story 107. Find common interests. My husband and I have discovered that we love doing jigsaw puzzles. We make special drinks, play some music, and sit quietly across from each other, occasionally expressing our frustration with the puzzle maker. Making time to be in each other's presence shows that we are prioritizing our closeness. Story 108. Just buy the candy bar. If you are in line somewhere and you see their favorite candy, get it because you were thinking of them. Story 109. Never resent each other. Listen and do not judge. Express your love in words, gestures, and actions. Story 110. If you can learn to do things for others without being told, that will serve you well. Story 111. Say thank you. It doesn't matter if that's what they are supposed to do. Show gratitude whenever your partner does something that makes your life a little better. To be honest, this applies to most interpersonal relationships, not just romantic ones. Story 112. Do not speak negatively about your spouse to anyone. You will get over whatever you are going through, but friends and family will not forget. Avoid name-calling. Do not generalize your statements, such as you always or you never. Story 113. Thank them when they do something nice, helpful, or thoughtful. Don't take anything they do for granted. The small but powerful. Story 114. Pick up the slack. If I get home and can tell that work was challenging for her, I will take over whatever she wanted to accomplish that night and try to get our older child interested so she can relax with the younger one. This way, she can unwind without feeling like we are falling behind on anything. Story 115. We dated for 9 years before getting married, and we were warned that relationships often change after marriage. To prepare for this transition, we read several marriage books, but only one stuck with us: The 5 Love Languages. The Secret to Love That Lasts by Gary Chapman. This book changed our understanding of how to love each other effectively. It's been a decade, and we're still checking in on how the other person's love tank is doing. I highly recommend it. Story 116. If someone seems to be sulking and the other person asks if there is a problem, the first person is not allowed to say nothing is wrong if they are upset. It is okay to say you do not want to talk, but you must admit there is an issue. You cannot perpetuate the conflict by claiming there is not one. This is the rule, and after 31 years, I still have to invoke it on a semi-regular basis. If one person does not like to travel but you do, go on your own. Story 117. Trust, communication, and appreciation are essential. Mastering these 3 elements leads to a marriage to be proud of. Story 118. Take your time and only get married when you are sure. I am getting married this October after knowing her for 20 years and being together for 19 years. Story 119. Ensuring your partner is sexually satisfied enhances many non-sexual aspects of life. Their attitude tends to be much more positive. Story 120. We are lesbians, so we often say to each other, "My spouse is always right, so I should listen to them." We usually do this when one of us is being unkind to ourselves. For example, if I say something negative about myself and she points out that it's not true and I need to be gentler with myself, she might use the "spouse is always right" reminder. This phrase can easily be made gender neutral by replacing spouse with the appropriate term and using your partner's pronouns. As long as both of you use this together, it helps avoid a power imbalance. Story 121. Just remember what they say when you are under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. If you do not really need to say it, be quiet. Story 122. I discovered that when my wife became irritable or angry, she was actually feeling aroused. She didn't even realize this herself. After intimacy, she was always easygoing and calm again for a few days. Story 123. This will read as cynical, but don't change your name, because if it unravels, the process to change back is just difficult. Story 124. The best marriage advice? Don't get married. Be in a committed relationship for as long as you want, not 1 second longer. Story 125. Do things before she can think of them. If she is complaining for the first time and not directed at you, address it then and there. Actions speak louder than words. Kind words can also be beneficial. It's better to let her be right when she is. Story 126. I write down all of my feelings and questions and then build Lego while we talk. It helps prevent my brain from overloading and keeps me focused. Story 127. Invest in a partner who possesses admirable qualities for your future children, rather than someone who is just enjoyable for you at the moment. Story 128. Communicate even when it's hard. It's important to express feelings and face challenges together instead of keeping them inside and allowing resentment to build. Story 129. Study transactional analysis to avoid senseless arguments with your partner. Story 130. We both get hungry around 5 p.m., which has been the starting point for many futile arguments. Eventually, we decided to pause the argument and eat. Now we don't even start the fight, but I am overweight. Story 131. Compromise and love. You are going to experience the absolute worst and best days together. Arguments happen, but you need to resolve them and move on. Moving on is the part that some people struggle with. I believe the most important aspect is choosing someone who is fully committed to you. Story 132. You've got to genuinely like each other. If you're not friends and don't absolutely adore one another, it's not going to work. You have to be with your person. When you're with your person, it just flows. Story 133. Keep the sharing alive. When you lose the desire to share, your conversations fade, and by the time you try to reconnect, you have no idea what to say or how to start. Story 134. Do not escalate. You will regret it, probably the next morning when yesterday's problems fade in comparison to the conflict that was started. Story 135. Realizing that marriage may not always end well can lead to divorce or loss. Once you understand this, you can focus on making the most of your marriage. Story 136. If you have a terrible memory like I do, keep a list of things that your spouse is interested in, mentions casually, and their goals. It is very handy when birthdays, Christmas, or date nights come up. Story 137. Care about the little things that make your partner happy. For instance, I know my husband struggles to turn off his mind at night. My favorite part of the day is scratching his head as he falls asleep or gets close to it. I love knowing I am helping him in such a small way. It brings him joy and that makes me happy. Care about the little things. Story 138. Minor issues that the other person has turned into major problems if you don't address them early on. It's important to clean, communicate effectively, and establish boundaries with in-laws. Story 139. When she shares her experiences about the drama at work, her friends, or a rude cashier at the store, don't offer any advice. She simply wants to vent. Men often instinctively seek solutions to problems. For the woman sharing her story, this may seem like the man is suggesting she acted incorrectly, prompting her to become defensive. This sudden change in her demeanor can confuse him, as he might wonder why she is upset when she asked for his advice. So, the next time your partner begins to vent, just listen and nod. Story 140. Try to learn their love language. Focus your efforts on satisfying those needs. Some people want physical gifts, while others appreciate verbal affirmations. Some desire physical touch. Everyone appreciates love in different ways, and some more than others. Determine how they best accept love, and show them affection that way more frequently. Don't hesitate to express how you best receive love, and when they make an effort to show you love in that manner, let them know you appreciate it. Furthermore, don't get married for love alone. Consider a prenuptial agreement. Marriage is a business transaction. You can do nearly everything as a committed partner that you could as a married couple. It is essential to marry the person you love, but ensure that it makes financial sense. Factors such as insurance, taxes, and children are valid reasons to consider marriage, rather than solely planning to spend the rest of your life with this person. Marriage ends in divorce 56% of the time. This statistic does not account for the estimated 10 to 20% who remain in loveless marriages for the sake of their children or because they don't want to give up half of their assets. If, when you bought your car, you knew it wouldn't start 60 to 75% of the time, you probably wouldn't make that purchase. Treat marriage as a business transaction with the person you love, and you'll be much more successful. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.